Hey friends, and welcome to my channel. Today we are building a cute little art studio in Henford-on-Bagley. This house was somewhat inspired by my very veggie legacy, and I wanted a place for her to be able to come and maybe take some art classes. So that's kind of what I went with. And so also I am building this on this very terrible lighting lot in Henford-on-Bagley. I love the world Henford-on-Bagley, but I don't particularly love the lighting in this world, especially on like the downtown area lots. It's a bit of a shame because this town is probably one of my favorites in the game thus far. So, anyway, getting on to the build. I did build this to run as a small business art studio. So on the bottom floor, it is the actual business itself. And then I do have a small little apartment up top. And it's not a very big apartment. I believe it's just one bedroom. And you do have a couple bathrooms. You have one downstairs and one upstairs. So yeah, I kind of imagine that the woman that owned this was an older adult or even an elder sim that had a lot of experience in art and had kind of built this and cultivated this little business around it. So, a little bit more on the backstory of the owner of this business. Her name is Willa Buttonberry, and she ends up being my very veggie legacies mentor in art. And she is the cutest little old lady. Actually, she is an adult, but I would imagine she's getting ready to age up into an elder. And she has a lot of life experience when it comes to art. But actually, in my legacy challenge, she does become Sage's mentor. So I think that was pretty cool. So that was kind of the whole idea behind this house is I wanted it to be very specific for my gameplay. And so I was looking around on the gallery and I was looking for a cute art studio to put down in Henford-on-Bagley. And it seems that everything that was on the gallery that I was coming across was very modern and very specific. And I couldn't really find anything that had that country feel that it felt like it belonged in Henford-on-Bagley. So that's kind of what this whole idea sprung from was I wanted something very specific for my gameplay where my character could come, hang out, maybe take an art class. And since she was living in this world, that's kind of what I thought. I thought this little downtown country market area was perfect for a little small business art studio. So that's kind of what inspired this whole build. So as you can see, I am now placing down some trash cans, just kind of getting a general idea of where I'm going to lay everything out. I did include a little greenhouse area and I put some plants in there, but I really put a lot of the art easels in there. And I kind of imagine that they would stand in that greenhouse and be able to look out on the surrounding countryside and be able to paint from inspiration with that. So I did set up a couple of different little viewpoints that you will see here in a minute. And I thought they turned out really cute. Just some visual things for your Sims to paint while they're on the lot. So I was very, very happy with that. Now we are just going through, and I'm really putting a lot of wisteria all over this build. I wanted it to feel very overgrown and like it's been here a long time, is kind of what I was imagining. And so I'm going through and I'm putting vines and everything. Oh, and you can see that I did place the staircase right by that greenhouse, which I did not love that idea, if I'm being honest. But it kinda just worked out with the floor plan and the flow of the house. That ended up just being the best place to put it, and, the railing is clipping in a little, but I didn't really mind well, I mind, but what are you gonna do? You can't really avoid it in The Sims. Unfortunately, we can't put a railing on just one side. You would think something so simple But, yeah, you gotta have to kinda live with it, and you can kinda see it is kinda clipping in there, but I just went along with it, and like I said, it ended up working out with how I wanted to lay out the floor plan here. I am going through and kind of laying out how I want the house to kind of flow. And when you walk in to the apartment upstairs, you are walking in into the kitchen. And I kind of prefer walking in through the kitchen versus through the living room. Well, it kind of depends on the house, I suppose, but. We are starting in on the main business downstairs now, and this is kind of the front lobby reception area. And so I just added some little art pieces. I kind of combined these two, this shelving unit and this little backdrop, and I thought it turned out unique and different. And so I went with it. And now I'm just including some essentials for the desk, a computer, I got a cat bowl. I kind of imagined there'd be a lot of cats running around here. Maybe you could paint them from reference and they would be kind of perched up. And so I like that idea. So I did include some cat stuff around and I included a bowl, a litter box, and I want to say one of those cat trees. And now we are starting in on like the little reception area. So I did include the businesses and hobbies check in. And right here, I'm including some coffee. I kind of imagine maybe while you're painting, you can grab a cup of coffee. And so this is the little coffee nook, I guess you would say. And these pictures that I am placing now are off of the gallery. And when The Sims updated, I feel like there was a lot of glitching happening. So you will see those pictures disappear. I had to replace them before I uploaded it. No, I want to say that's part of the upload on the gallery, but in the screenshots I had to replace those pictures. So in my screenshots there are going to be different pictures there. And then as you can see, I am trying to place the whiteboard from businesses and hobbies where you can actually teach your classes. But there was a weird glitch with the game while I was building this house, and I went in and I was recording and I tried to place that whiteboard, and for the life of me, it would not stick. So, yeah, at this point, at this juncture in recording, I think that I was becoming very confused and like, is it me or why won't this whiteboard place? But on the gallery, it should be working. Everything I think they patched that glitch, so I think everything is back to normal and the whiteboard works. So it should appear in the game, and if you download it off the gallery, it should be in there already. I don't think you'll have any issues with that. And now we are starting in on that little greenhouse painting room that I was talking about. And I thought it turned out really cute. I placed some planters around, like the ones that already have the plants inside. And I kind of imagined this was used as a green room, but she converted it into a little painting studio as well. So you still have all these plants, and I wanted to feel lush and like there was stuff around that you could paint. So I did place 4 easels in here and then I kinda layered these rugs on top of one another, and I thought it turned out really pretty, and I put paint splatters everywhere. And in the middle here, I put this, I wanna say this is from the artist studio kit, kind of like paint by reference, stools. And I placed that in the middle of all these easels. I did include a sink in here and then like a little storage cabinet because I kind of imagine that they would be storing their paintings and whatnot. So I thought that turned out cute. And now you can see we are starting in on the main bathroom for your customers and your clients. So this is the bathroom for the small business. I would imagine that the owner wouldn't be using this bathroom too terribly much unless she was working, of course. So I included some art on the walls, and I kind of thought maybe throughout the years she had some people come through there and want to put their touch on the studio. So there is some art paintings in the bathroom. And now we are getting on into the kitchen for the upstairs apartment. And I really, really like how this kitchen turned out. I thought this was such a cozy, cutesy, girly kitchen. And I was honestly really excited to show it to you guys. This was probably my favorite room in the entire house. Just probably because that fridge is, like, next level. I love that it has stickers and art all over it, and it just completely tied in the whole room, and I'm so thankful for that refrigerator with a bunch of clutter and just miscellaneous because it really does liven up a room a lot. And now you can see I'm going in and I'm adding some clutter to the top of these cabinets, and unfortunately all the clutter that I put up here in these cabinets disappeared when I loaded back into my game. So I went through and I was taking screenshots. And as I was editing, I noticed that the clutter that I put up in those cabinets and a few other places, they just disappeared. Like along with some of my pictures that I downloaded off the gallery and my whiteboard and pretty much everything. Everything that I needed or wanted in this build was not working out. So I was crying a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But I did go back and revise some of my screenshots and fix everything. So in the screenshots, all the clutter and besides the pictures that I had to replace on the walls, everything should be there in the screenshots. I even had to go back and after they fixed that whiteboard bug and I had to retake my screenshots because I couldn't place that board in my game to even take the screenshots. So I was like stuck midway through, I was ready to upload this and get this out for you guys. And in my screenshots, you can't place that whiteboard. So I did go back and I revised everything. So everything in the screenshot should be like according to plan. So yeah, just another lovely day in the world of The Sims, I don't know. But now we are starting in on the living room, and I really do like how this living room turned out. I was very, very happy with it. I love this couch. I want to say this couch is from, oh no, I want to say Growing Together. I I think that couch is from Growing Together. But I know that Love Seat is from high school years, and, I thought that just I don't usually mix match my furniture, but I thought that kinda looked cute, together. I wanted it to be a little bit kind of like boho country. I mean, to be honest, I it's probably a mismesh of things because I have a problem sticking to an aesthetic, but I kinda wanted it to flow with the rest of the house, and I think it did. So I included this chair also from high school years, and then these collage paintings are probably one of my favorites. And I did have a little bit of an awkward area in the hallway. So you can see that hallway is just a one tile and it has two doors. So it's a very, very tight squeeze, but I think it works. And with what I had in mind, I kind of had to do that because I was limited on space. But we are working on the one and only bathroom for the apartment up here. So this is the main bathroom for the business owner, and it's quite small. It just has a stand up shower, but I thought it worked and it served the purposes. So and now we are getting in on the main bedroom and the owner's bedroom. And it is also a very small room, but I feel like I included everything that needed to be included. I have a bed in here, and then I was able to also include a small desk and a little computer for the owner. So she does have that in her main bedroom. And so I thought that was nice that I was able to fit that in there. And I'm just adding a few more little clutter pieces on the wall, trying to fill it in. I put that mirror and then I got this small little wardrobe and I'm just cluttering it up with paint stuff and odds and ends that I thought, an artist would have in her room, but still trying to keep it kind of light. And because it was so small, I didn't want to clutter it up too terribly much. And now I'm just adding a few more pictures on the wall, and then we are going to get to the backyard where I ended up making this little scene area that I imagine your Sims could paint. And I got this little gnome and I put her there. And I got wildflowers and mushrooms, and I kind of just filled it up with a bunch of mystical fantasy things, and I put a willow tree behind it, and I thought it was such a cute little cozy art place. So your Sims could come out here and they could paint from reference, and it was kind of magical, I thought. And then I included this little gazebo. I think this gazebo is so beautiful and enchanting. And I was very much in the mystical mood to build like a kind of a whimsical build. So I kind of hope that came through with the mushrooms and the little gnomes. So I was very much inspired by fairies coming out, so I'm excited to get my hands on that. And I did include these little boards where you can sell your paintings. And so I kind of imagine that the owner would put her paintings out here for sale. Or, if a customer leaves their painting behind, then you can snatch it and throw it up there and sell it. So it is a pretty lucrative business if you want to ever play as an art studio owner. It is very, very lucrative, I must say. And so, yes, we are getting into the end of the build. And before it wraps up, I just want to give a special shout out to Megan. Thank you so much for commenting on all my builds and supporting me. And to all of you, I really appreciate every single one of your comments. And I try to reply to you guys as soon as I can when I see it, just because you guys take time out of your day to comment, and it really does mean so much to me, and it gives me the motivation to keep going and to keep creating, and I love it. And I hope you guys do find comfort and coziness in this, because that's what it's all about for me. And I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.